America causes around the world. And how did the media and the left react to this? We're also going to take a look at the masculinity. The Atlantic ran a piece, how the Democrats are going after the manly man. And we're also going to take a Delizia, for Memphis activist who's out there fighting the good cause in Memphis, saluting President Trump, and she was attacked for that. That and more coming up on Media Exposed.
Do you dare to follow me down?
What they do say is fake news.
Head into the unknown.
That's how devious the media's become. They're full force activists now.
They colluded. Trump folks were in on it.
Down the rabbit hole.
Sways elections, sways policy. We need to expose them.
Republicans trash the country.
Where it stops, no one knows. We're going.
I've been doing this since I was 18. I've had hit jobs done against me. I've been attacked by media reporters. Am I afraid? No. Truth will prevail. Fake news media, we're here to call you out.
Head into the unknown.
Media Exposed with Adam Weiss starts now.
Welcome to Media Exposed this week. The death of Lindsey Graham, legendary senator, one of the most prominent, influential voices in modern American politics. More than 3 decades he served. He was a congressman starting in 95 and the United States Senate from 2002. That's 24 years he's been in the Senate. The seat once held by Strom Thurmond. Boy, these are legendary names. Chairman of the Senate Budget Committee, one of the 3 amigos, they called him, along John McCain and Joe Lieberman. And that was the end of a different time. Bipartisan, they get along better. Defense and foreign policy hawk who spent a career arguing that American strength keeps hostile powers in check. He died Saturday night, 71. He was running for a 5th term. He was scheduled for Meet the Press and shows he even said, the report said he wasn't feeling that great, but he was going to go checked up after Meet the Press. That's how much he wanted to keep speaking to the public and tell him his mission. And on Tuesday, Governor Henry McMaster appointed his Graham's sister, Darlene Graham Nardone, to finish his term, the first woman ever to represent South Carolina, the United States Senate. A historic first. You think the people who never stop talking about firsts would have noticed. Here's how. I'm going to show you a late night comedian. I'm going to come David Zia, Pentagon reporter, host of Breaking Point on Real America's Voice. David, thanks for joining us.
Hey, how are you, Adam? Great to be here. And now you said Democrats are attacking manly men. I'm assuming you were referring to me, so I'll be ready.
Yes, the Atlantic wrote a piece, the recruit, how the Democrats are now going after the manly man. It was a long piece. It's so silly. Look how they did with Graham Platinum. They had a casting call. That's how they got Graham Platinum, a big casting call.
Yeah.
And they saw that he donated to Bernie, and they said, that's it. He donated to Bernie. And he's an oyster farmer. So nevertheless, that they scrutinize his tattoos, his woman behavior, his past. It's what a joke they become. But, you know, Lindsey was from a different era, a different time. And he stood up for, I remember he stood up for Elena, was it Elena Kagan he stood up for? When she was being appointed, he treated her with such kindness, cordial, back and forth. And then when Kavanaugh was getting it really hard, making up things about the guy when he was in a fraternity, he went off the charts. It was a moment to live for, that Lindsey, because it was a different era now. The left doesn't have any rules at all. But he was a hawk for America, and he left Earth too quick. It was a surprise. And Trump said he was like family to him. So give me initial thoughts on Lindsey, because he's he's being attacked. It seems like we do this all the time. People pass away and nobody can be just silent and praise someone or let them die in peace in politics in America these days.
Well, he deserves the respect and to be honored for his service, both to the military as a colonel and also as a U.S. senator. And he only had a 43% on the Liberty scorecard. So if you're, MAGA and you don't subscribe to his beliefs, he still owed the respect. Trump relied on him. You and I have spent a lot of time around Lindsey Graham at Mar-a-Lago, and he is a right-hand man to Trump when it comes to reaching across the aisle and to not so conservative senators, I believe. He raised a lot of money for Donald Trump too, and he had a lot of good traits as well. And I remember we covered Pickens in 2023, I think it was South Carolina. And that's like the heart of where he was, from in that western part of South Carolina. And he got booed raucously by the crowd. There were about 40,000 people there. It was when Trump was on his re-election bid. But he was an ally of Trump. I think they were very close friends. Trump has been struck by this. And these people on The View are so hideous, They're talking about, DEI, that, having a sister in there is a DEI hire. I guess it's only good if it's a Democratic woman who gets put
right when Joe
in
Biden
this position.
promised, I need an African American woman, and he had to pick Kamala. And how did that work out, right? But they're so terrible, the left. And the left, we don't just say is the media, the late night comics. And how is this funny? But I want to show you a cut. He filled in for a guy named Ike Barinholtz, filled in for Jimmy Kimmel, or he was on Jimmy Kimmel. And let's show you what he said about the passing of Lindsey Graham.
But the big political story today is that we officially have a replacement for Lindsey Graham in the Senate. And it's Lindsey Graham's sister, which is very confusing because I always thought Lindsey Graham was Lindsey Graham's sister. It's not. It's a different person. It's a whole different person. But it's true. Darlene Graham Nordone, she was sworn in this afternoon on Capitol Hill and will finish her brother's term in office. And Darlene said she'll work very hard over the next several months to support the president. And she pledges to suck his tits even harder than her brother did. So I think that's nice. Good for her. Good for her.
David, that was not even funny. Lindsey Graham is Lindsey Graham's sister. Do you get that at all? I don't.
Well, they're inferring that he's gay. Oh. And, it's okay to make fun of somebody for being gay if they're on the right. But if you're on the left, you're a racist or you're a homophobe.
Their rules are you're never allowed to say anything against the LGBTQ. You'll be canceled in a heartbeat.
Yeah, it's disgusting. And his sister, this isn't the first time this happened. And she's a doctor. And then on The View, they were so stupid saying, she's a doctor, she's not qualified. There's been 54 senators who've been appointed since 1791 or served who are or doctors or practice medicine. And it's despicable. And Ike Barinholtz is a funny guy.
Imagine Joe Biden was the senator and he passed and they appointed his wife, Dr. Jill.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. The praise, the
master in her field.
That would happen. Or if we appointed Michelle to a Chicago, Illinois Senate seat. My God, she'd be on every cover. Like she wasn't on enough covers as it is. But I saw this in my hands here. I like to pick up the Post once in a while, David. There's a lot of good, juicy stuff in the New York Post. I saw this yesterday. Howard Stern dials back staff. Per our sources, received the Zoom on Monday calling that Stern plans to cut back to a single show a week after returns after his summer. One show a week. We're told Stern kept a core team. He laid off dozens of staffers this week. Core team of veteran, but he just doesn't need much content. The rest of the airtime is expected to be filled with tape from his archive. What happened to the original shock jock, Howard Stern? And I think he's still getting $8,000.
He makes $8,000 a minute still, even if he goes to 1 day a week, I believe. I don't know if he's serving out the rest of a $100 million contract or what, but nobody listens to Howard Stern. And, he's a super Trump hater, and people are sick and tired of it, I think, across the board. I stopped listening. I never really liked it, his show. I thought it was banal, but I stopped listening to him when he had a porn star eat or one of his cast eat the human waste from a porn star off a spoon. So
Jesus.
He's a hideous individual, and I'm glad he's down to 1 day a week.
Well, he started off with the blue collar crowd. That was his base, right? And then he went Hollywood, his wife, went Hamptons, went Hollywood. He lost his core base and became an anti-Trump vitriol, and he became a pro-COVID lunatic. After that, he was gone. I don't know why Sirius still made a deal with him.
You know, I worked for an engineering firm years back, and they were designing his basement. I think his house was 9,000 square feet. So it's easy to deal with COVID when you're in a 10,000 foot house with your own bowling alley or whatever the hell he had in there. So, another hypocrite on the left. I don't think many people are going to miss him.
Yeah, I want to talk about this sort of Viagra pill. It's their ED pill called Viagra, AGV. It's unbelievable. It works super fast in as little as 12 minutes and lasts up to 12 hours. Plus, it's FDA approved, safe. You need it. Try it for yourself. It's unreal what it does for you. Viagra AGV crushes every other ED pill. 9 out of 10 urologists now recommend the sensational new super pill over any other ED pill. Every man alive needs to try this amazing, remarkable Viagra AG pill at least once. It's beyond belief. Then you'll know why men are going crazy over it. So if you want to have the most incredible night of your life, you can't miss this. Go to scoreblue.com. Again, scoreblue.com and try it while all these supplies last. Go to scoreblue.com. That's, scoreblue.com, where you'll be able to try it. Coming up next, we have this story about 2 Americas in one night, how I went to this gala and it was amazing, unbelievable. But that more coming up on Media Exposed.
My friends, I come to you today on behalf of the Jewish people in Ukraine.
I can hear the sound of revolution.
Rav family, it's time to make history. Just in time for our nation's historic 250th anniversary, Ram artist Natasha Owens is dropping the ultimate patriotic anthem. We need your help to take it straight to the top. Scan the QR code on your screen right now or search America 250 on iTunes to download it today. Let's stand together, rally the family, and make this the #1 song in the nation.
Real America's Voice is growing, and now it's all in one place. Introducing the new and improved RAV app, built for access, community, and choice, not paywalls. Here's the key. RAV is still free to watch. No sign-in, no membership required. Your favorite live streams, breaking coverage, and video on demand are all right there. Free, just like always.
For the War Room Posse, we have to be a force multiplier on this. We have to stick the landing.
In the White House, in the Oval Office, you're crushing it, my friend.
And if you want more, the members section is your backstage pass. Get exclusive behind-the-scenes photos and videos, insider moments from the studio and the field, and early access to new content before it goes public. Members can also unlock special experiences like virtual meet and greets, member-only auctions, and select event access, plus commercial-free viewing of certain shows inside the app. It's not just an app, it's a community. Download the RAV app today. Find it in the App Store and Google Play.
Hello, all you Ravagers. I'm Billy Howell, your old buddy Carefree Largo from the chat, and I'm thrilled to be part of the Rav family. When I want to be heard, I use my real America's voice.
Lazar Garcianovich here from Japan. Love real America's voice, real news, honest views, and love seeing everyone there. God bless America.
Florida Sun Goddess here. Let me tell you why I love RAV. They let my voice be heard. They give me a platform for community so I don't feel alone. Thanks so much. God bless.
Welcome back to Media Exposed. The Atlantic, one of the most prominent magazines across the country, ran a piece earlier this week, or was last week. It was called "The Return of the Democratic Manly Man." The party that spent a decade, maybe 2 decades, calling masculinity toxic, beating up males, has a brand new strategy, and along with the media, the strategy is men. They're for them now. We're for the males. We're for the males. Here's now how they talk about half the country when they think it's safe. A Democratic operative pitched a story. Actually, this was the story pitched to Atlantic about winning back, quote, male spaces. Their candidates are engaging culturally in male spaces. That's not how men talk, first of all. That's how you describe men to a focus group in a psychology class. Their Ohio candidate, a union iron worker, puts it plain, the parties catered too much to the softer side. And the fix, quote, it's all vibes. Vibes, not policy, vibes. Because he also admits he can't name, quote, a single piece of legislation that's bad for men. That's the whole confession. They don't think they have a men problem. They think they have a marketing problem. And the numbers are why they're panicking. Kamala won 43% of men and 39% of white men. No Democrat has won a majority of men since Obama in 2008. 20 years of men walking out the door being beaten up. Even their own congressman, a former Army Ranger, mocks the act. Politicians sending staffers to buy them Carhartt jackets, his words, brand new with no creases, and quote, voters see right through it. They do. And here's how badly the costume can't fit. In Maine, the left's main authentic candidate, an oyster farmer, we know Graham Plattner, shot to the top of the polls, then dropped out of nowhere, rape charges, Nazi tattoos. And when voter asked that same Ohio candidate where he stands on women's rights, he was called flat-footed. To workers first. Again, I want to welcome my next guest, Dr. Paul. He's an expert, psychiatrist, actually. You can find him as a Substack, drpaul.substack, as well as Men's Psychology Substack. And he's had a couple of great books from Random House, The Secrets of How We Fall in Love and The Power of Female Friendship. Dr. Paul, we've known each other close to 2 decades. We've always said men.
Thank you, Adam.
We've always said men have been beaten up in our country for a decade or two by the media, by culture, by Hollywood. But now I saw this piece by Atlantic, and they were the propaganda piece for almost how do we win back men. And they did it with this farmer. I'm going to play this clip. Ready, Paul?
Okay.
I want to show this clip. It's Daniel Morov. He was the strategist for the Graham Plattner campaign. So wasn't even looking to run for office. They had this big search, these strategists, right? And they found Graham Plattner, the oyster
beauty
farmer.
Contest.
The oyster farmer, the masculine guy. Yeah,
there.
Watch this. Let's go to cut 2. It was the Wall Street Journal interviewing him, and it looked like his partner in the strategy firm they had. Go to cut 2.
I mean, we want people who didn't run for student council, right? We want people who have not been spending their entire lives planning their ascent to political power. She pulled up his FEC history and saw, the money he'd given to Bernie Sanders and, some other people. That was enough information to know that we had the best prospect that we'd maybe ever seen.
At this point, you hadn't vetted Graham Plattner. You hadn't done a full scrub of who he is. How did you go about vetting him? And why did you?
We paid a nice firm a whole chunk of money and got some stuff back. Some of what you've seen on the news we got back. Other stuff we didn't.
Did the vetting process turn up the tattoo that became so controversial?
No.
The Reddit posts, did that turn up in the vetting process?
The firm sent us a thing, and it had some of the posts, but it didn't have all of them.
And what did you think about that? How did you think your way through the fact that he had posted these things on social media?
I said none of this will or should stop him from becoming a U.S. Senator.
And what was your thinking there?
Agree. I think if what the voters wanted were people who were grown in vats and had never done or said anything that they might regret their entire lives, we'd have a very different country. Part of our thesis here is that people do not want their candidates grown in vats. They want people who are real human beings, and they want people who do not look and sound like the vat-grown people who've been leading this country off a cliff for the last century. And that was Graham.
First of all, if that's the political strategist that's bringing on Graham Plattner,
yes.
If you heard that voice, we'd get rid of him right away. Give me your thoughts on that. And those were the strategists. They did a big casting call, and at the end of it, they came up with Graham Plattner. Give me your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I want to be as helpful as I can. I know we have limited time. I'm not a political scientist. I'm a behavioral scientist. That's my wheelhouse. I think one of the most important distinctions for an educated public to make is the difference between psychology and sociology and politics. Psychology is inside us all. It works by rules and principles that can be learned that are apolitical. And that which is sociological or political is campaigning. There's propaganda, campaigning, convincing, advertising. I'm not interested in any of that. And so I think you're right that from a sociological perspective and a political perspective, there have been a lot of neologisms, we call them, like new made-up words that some 25-year-old blogger made up. And then it gets accepted as if it's science, like the word toxic. The word toxic means narcissistic. There's no such thing as a toxic masculinity any more than there is such a thing as a toxic rock or automobile. Being masculine is an inherent trait in all males and has nothing to do with whether you're narcissistic and juvenile or mature and wise and
I get it. The point is the Democratic Party, the media, we have a show, Media Exposed. The media has beaten up masculinity. They've taught little children it's bad to be rambunctious, bad to be, fight with little kids over decades now. And then they wonder, now the Democrats wonder, why have we lost so many male votes? Well, you've been beating up them in culture and Hollywood and politics, beating up the male. And then they go and do a casting call, and that's what they come up with. Graham Plattner and The Atlantic ran and found all these other iron workers. But you know what?
Yes.
I don't think it's going to work, because if these political strategists see the worldview as the tattoo is no big deal, a Nazi tattoo is no big deal, his Reddit posts are no big deal, they're more vested in thinking what males and the public think than knowing what really is. Because if you're not authentic, it's not going to work. What do you think?
Well, I think there's a divisive force in politics, again, in the sociologic arena, that divides males and females, that does not like the idea of family and family values, that doesn't like the idea of being a father, being a husband. We're kind of not allowed to use those words anymore. And that's really the problem that they're facing. They almost tied themselves in knots, trapped themselves through their own socio-political moves of the last couple decades, like you said, instead of sticking to science. Males have masculine instincts, biologic males. Biologic females have feminine instincts. These are real, and they drive a lot of our behavior, but they aren't the sum total of our behavior. The rest of our behavior is how mature are we as individuals, not being male or being female, but as individuals, versus how narcissistic and immature are we. That's an individual parameter. Each individual human is somewhere on a scale there. And it has nothing to do with being male or female or anything else.
I get it. Now we have to break it down. And so there was other candidates from Maine to Georgia to other places where the Atlantic is cheerleading, trying to get the male vote. I don't know. I think it'll work because I think people are smarter than that. You can't just manufacture, let's go find the iron steel worker if his policies are off the charts. It doesn't work like that. You've beaten up society so much. I
don't want to make a statement that's covers 100% of these issues we're talking about, but I will say that in 30 years of being a psychiatrist, 30 years ago, I looked at all the statistics about what are the emotional characteristics of a conservative versus a liberal, and 30 years ago, the only parameter you could find is conservatives were more anxious. They had more anxiety problems. Today, it almost appears to me that there is at least a partial variable where many feminine instinctual characteristics are imbued in Democrat Party slogans, proposals, and policy, whereas many masculine characteristics, I'm not saying 100%, but a variable, are imbued in conservative policies. And I even talked to let's just say a representative of an active government, the U.S. government, in 2016. It seemed to me they were advertising mainly to males. And I said, is that your campaign strategy? And the person just winked at me. So go figure.
No,
it's become a party of males and a party of females.
We're gonna see how it plays out with the Atlantic. Doc Paul, thanks for joining us. Everyone go to a Substack at Dr. Paul. Coming up next, we're going to look at Celebrate America 250. I was at this gala at the Library of Congress. We're going to talk to the organizer. A lot of what you see is not true, the way the media covers Trump. And we brought together an inclusive bunch. That and more coming up on Media Exposed.
All right, you guys, listen, here's something I realized about my retirement account that honestly caught me
I can hear the sound of revolution.
Rav family, it's time to make history. Just in time for our nation's historic 250th anniversary, Ram artist Natasha Owens is dropping the ultimate patriotic anthem. We need your help to take it straight to the top. Scan the QR code on your screen right now or search America 250 on iTunes to download it today. Let's stand together, rally the family, and make this the #1 song in the nation.
Real America's Voice is growing, and now it's all in one place. Introducing the new and improved RAV app, built for access, community, and choice, not paywalls. Here's the key. RAV is still free to watch. No sign-in, no membership required. Your favorite live streams, breaking coverage, and video on demand are all right there. Free, just like always.
For the War Room Posse, we have to be a force multiplier on this. We have to stick the landing.
In the White House, in the Oval Office, you're crushing it, my friend.
And if you want more, the members section is your backstage pass. Get exclusive behind-the-scenes photos and videos, insider moments from the studio and the field, and early access to new content before it goes public. Members can also unlock special experiences like virtual meet and greets, member-only auctions, and select event access, plus commercial-free viewing of certain shows inside the app. It's not just an app, it's a community. Download the RAV app today. Find it in the App Store and Google Play.
Hello, all you Ravagers. I'm Billy Howell, your old buddy Carefree Largo from the chat, and I'm thrilled to be part of the Rav family. When I want to be heard, I use my real America's voice.
Lazar Garcianovich here from Japan. Love Real America's Voice, real news, honest views, and love seeing everyone there. God bless America.
Florida Sun Goddess here. Let me tell you why I love RAV. They let my voice be heard. They give me a platform for community so I don't feel alone. Thanks so much. God bless.
Welcome back to Media Exposed. Early in the week, it was a Tuesday in the week, we had a special event. It was really special. It was at the Library of Congress. Brought together some wonderful people for an America 250 celebration. And it was unique because it was all different nationalities, Orthodox Jews. I saw people from the Middle East, African Americans, Hispanics. You wouldn't know it from the media. But the man, one of the men that put this together, I want to bring him on because it's unlike things you hear from the media. I want to bring Ezra Klein, Ezra Friedlander. Ezra was the organizer who brought this all together. Ezra, I want to thank you for doing this, bringing everybody together. It was amazing. Ezra was a consultant lobbyist with the Friedlander Group. And Ezra, I want to show, actually, before we get it started here, let's show a photo of Ezra, photo A here on the screen photo. There he is shaking. That was the beginning in the back room, and that's Giano in the back room of Fox shaking Eric's hand. Eric is a delightful person to be around. Another photo 2, let's go on to that. He's standing there with Victoria, I believe, and Eric on photo B. That's when he's making a speech. With many speeches made, many congressmen came. And let me show a couple of my photos. Let's go to photo 1. I think it's me and Caitlin. Boy, you can't look ugly with that photo, Ezra, right? I mean, standing next to, Caitlin. So here's another photo, me and Asha. Was a big supporter, Indian supporter, one of the biggest supporters of the president. And then the next photo 3, I believe, is me and Congressman Victoria Sparks, Ukrainian congressman, the only congresswoman out there. So, and then me and Eric in photo 4. And that photo 4 is Eric and myself. And then 5, we show you the flyer. It was Celebrate America 250. It was a historic gala at the Library of Congress. And Ezra, great job putting it together. You wouldn't never know from the media how inclusive that room was. Tell people what was your idea when you first put it together. And it was an amazing networking opportunity and that brought all these Congress people together. Tell people what was your original idea and thoughts when you put everybody together for America, to celebrate America.
Thank you, Adam, for those kind words. Thank you for your participation, for your help. Greatly appreciated. So the official host was Project Legacy, which is a non-for-profit organization with a mandate to commemorate and highlight important historical milestones with a to transform that milestone, that anniversary, into a teaching moment, either through a legislative initiative or through an event leading up to other activities that could highlight why we're marking, why we're commemorating. So we love the United States. My grandparents came to this country post-World War II. This is the best country on planet Earth. I was even told that the rabbis of yesteryear, when the United States was founded, said that the founding fathers had a spark of divinity when they when they wrote the Constitution. So for me, this was very, very personal. And yes, we did bring together, I call them friends of America. The United States of America is a superpower. We need friends, we need allies. And I felt it would be important to incorporate people from all walks of life. We had, as you very well know, you mentioned some of the individuals who were there, Kamal Gibri, who I met for the very first time, but I've heard about him and read about him. A wonderful human being, someone who wants to give back, someone who wants the public to benefit from his outstanding leadership. And he's in healthcare and he's in other industries as well. And the evening brought together people from Africa. We had Teen Jack Rich. We had Morris Irving. Now I'm going to have to mention Phil Friedman, who was celebrating 50 years of his arrival to the United States during the bicentennial from the former Soviet Union, and built up a wonderful, wonderful IT business, employing thousands of people, and does it so quietly. And so the purpose was to celebrate America with people who truly appreciate what our country is. You know, there's so much division in a way. This was a night where we celebrated the United States of America. We had members of Congress. You know many of them. I know many of them. Rich McCormick, Jim Jordan, Congressman McGuire, Claudia Tenney, an American hero.
Mrs. Spartz, Victoria Spartz, the only Ukrainian congresswoman. That was so unique about the room. Was the inclusivity, the diversity in the room, and you never know it because we cover the media here, but the media doesn't like showing this kind of room when it comes under Trump because it shows it doesn't show what their perceived bias against him. But this room was inclusive, very diverse, racially diverse, ethnically diverse, and we all celebrated 250. We all celebrated America, which was very important. And Eric was wonderful the way he came together. And I love putting together. That's why I wanted to do this segment, to show what a different side of America, a different side of the Trump family that the media doesn't show. They're always beating them up over everything.
And Eric was so engaging. And I've been with him at events, and I've always noticed how he goes out of his way to make someone feel welcome, to listen. He's a great listener. And I'm surprised because someone at that level with that affluence and influence just really connects with people. And we wanted to have the son of the president of the United States. We wanted to have Eric. He's in business. He's not in politics, as he said. And he really connected. And he also is a great humanitarian. He doesn't talk about it, but based on what I know, he's raised tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars, I think, for the St. Jude institution hospital. Am I correct? If I recall correctly,
he had St. Jude, and the media went after him so bad during the first Trump administration. What did he do? He raised millions and millions for cancer charity, and the media went after him, and not the left went after him, that he had to shut it down. Now he called curativity. They still raise money, millions, but he had to change the name because this is how devious the left is occasionally. In the media, they looked into every little thing during the first term, doing it again in the second term. You see articles that the son is making money and the other son's making money. Well, they always made money. They were always entrepreneurs. What's different now is technologies change, apps change, things move so much faster with AI. So that's why they make money. Everyone makes money quick in our technology, right? It's not because they're the president's son.
AI is a transformational technological, I don't even know how it's going to impact, but we certainly know, even from our limited engagement with AI, it's totally transformed the landscape of communication and work-related activities. Like you just said, what took us 4 or 5 hours can take us literally minutes today. And Eric is also a very strong proponent of crypto and Bitcoin, and those industries, whether we like it or not, are here to stay. And we're now in the next great revolution, and that's part of celebrating America 250. We love this country. We want this country to be successful. We want this country to be strong.
And nobody.
The night really brought together. I'm so happy the way you articulated it, because yes, we had people from all walks of life, and I would venture to say that maybe there were even people there that are not quote unquote Trump supporters, but everyone was united that night. Maybe it was 1% not, but it was a night that everyone could celebrate and feel good about our country. The awards that were given were a replica of the Constitution, and they're being treasured. They're being treasured. I met with Kamal Gibber yesterday, and he had that award in his hotel displayed prominently. It wasn't packed up with the luggage because he's someone that feels a connectivity to the United States. And those are the individuals that we here in the United States should embrace. And we should understand that it's these individuals, these world leaders in business and in humanitarian pursuits that together make America great and make it even greater. So it was a beautiful evening.
Israel, I was going to play a clip, but I don't think we have time. But to sum up what I was going to play, it was a CNN reporter or analyst almost cheerleading for the young, free Palestine, genocide, rants that we hear all the time that are being lectured, and it's coming out of the university these days. And because nobody's a more staunch supporter of Israel than this president, right? So I wanted to play that clip, but I don't have time. But the point of what I was saying is your room brought together different diversities, celebrated. We had a lot of Jewish people in the room, a lot of Orthodox Jewish people, and it shows how strong the generation that we brought together wasn't racist, wasn't vitriolic. But I want there's something wrong with the younger generation. Give me your final thoughts on. But I think give me your quick final thoughts on when. Just tell me quickly when the next event is, so you could tell the audience.
God willing, it'll be in September on the sidelines of UNGA, United Nations General Assembly. And we hope that you'll be very much in attendance.
Ezra,
and we look forward to working with you.
Ezra, thanks for joining us. I'll see you soon, hopefully in New York. Coming up next, we're going to speak to a Memphis independent journalist. She had the nerve, Dalizia Ballinger. She praised Trump, and then they went after her. We're going to talk to her more coming up on Media Exposed.
The world is full of fables, from Big Pharma's lies to gender confusion, atheism, and the fake news media. From Real America's Music comes the powerful new single, Fables, by DVS 7.0 and Brett Rayo. This bold anthem exposes the lies of the enemy while pointing people to the life-changing truth of Jesus Christ. Download Fables right now by scanning the QR code on your screen or search Fables on iTunes. Let's make this song number one.
Old school online security tools leave you half protected.
The world is full of fables, from Big Pharma's lies to gender confusion, atheism, and the fake news media. Enough is enough. From Real America's Music comes the powerful new single, Fables, by DVS 7.0 and Brett Rayo. This bold anthem exposes the lies of the enemy while pointing people to the life-changing truth of Jesus Christ. Pre-save Fables right now by scanning the QR code on your screen or search Fables on iTunes. Let's make this song number one.
My name is Tracy Hill from Arizona. I go deep around in the kitchen when it comes to the news. I watch Real America's Voice, which always serves accurate and reliable updates that are on point with their amazing hosts. So don't find yourself in a pickle by tuning into the fake news. Stick with Real America's Voice.
I'm Lou, MAGA pilot from Rav's Gator Chat here in beautiful Trump County, Florida. The best place for real news is Real America's Voice.
Hi, this is Kelly Renee from Northern California Hills, MAGA country. The reason I watch Real America's Voice is for the faith, the family, and the freedom. Giddy up!
My name is TJ Ash from Carbonville, Utah. Real America's Voice lets me express my conservative views without censorship or edit.
Welcome back to Media Exposed. SometimeYouChange.org has an interesting petition here, and it revolves around a Memphis independent journalist, Delicia Ballinger. She's a lifelong Memphis resident, a mother of two, a former freelance writer for the Tri-State Defender. She lives with a bullet still lodged in her living room wall for an earlier drive-by shooting, free from where her young son was playing. Ballinger says the gunshots were nightly normal on her street for years and years after the Memphis Safe Task Force that President Trump created, the multi-agency National Guard federal crime crackdown launched last year, moved into her. She says the shooting stopped for the first time in 5 or so years. She described the change in vivid, specific terms, walking to her mailbox on a quiet October day and realizing it felt strange because she was so used to gunfire. And now, last fall, Ballinger posted a TikTok. She thanked President Trump for the National Guard deployment that created the task force. The video went viral. She lost her freelance job for that. It was straight to the Defender. After editors said the post raised questions about her impartiality, she says the trade-off was worth it, and that led she's do it again. She's been open about that. I want to welcome Delicia Ballinger, an independent journalist. I was told this story, Delicia, and like always, people are still getting canceled in America. You spoke the truth. You wanted safety, and your local newspaper cut you off. It's ridiculous. Tell us the story. You were living with gunfires. Your kids were there. Tell us. And then you spoke out. I believe we had the cut here. I want to play. Let me play this clip first, cut 4, when you spoke out with the president at a task force.
It is a complete honor to be here with you today. Thank you for saving Memphis. My name is Delicia Ballinger, and I'm a lifelong Memphian, and I'm a mother. And I wanted to speak with you today, not just as a citizen, but as a mom who's lived through what Memphis has become. I remember a different Memphis. I remember when the city felt alive, when families didn't have to think twice about safety, when kids could just go outside and just be kids. We had places to go, things to do, and a sense of pride about where we come from. But over the years, that Memphis has faded, and what is replaced with was fear. Before the Memphis Safe Task Force, I just didn't hear about crime, I lived it. I watched friends and people that I love lose their lives to the senseless violence. I've attended funerals that never should have happened. I've seen families torn apart, mothers grieving, and children growing up without parents, all because of violence that felt like it would never end. And those moments stay with you. They change how you see everything. But nothing's changed me more than becoming a mother. Because now, it wasn't just my life that I was worried about, it was my children. There were days where I wouldn't let them go outside, not because I didn't want them to, but because I was afraid what would happen if I did. And the fear of stray bullets, the sounds of gunshots at night, constantly wondering if they were truly safe. And that fear became real in a way that no mother should ever have to experience. At just 5 years old, I could have lost my son.
Was it after that moment that the paper let you go and told you we don't need you anymore?
Actually, it was before that moment. I was just, I was assigned these stories when President Trump initially had announced that he would be bringing the National Guard here to Memphis, and I was just doing my job as a journalist. I was covering those stories from an unbiased point of view. People that liked it, people that didn't like it. I did that from all types of points of views. But it wasn't until I actually made a video myself, and this was just one particular day. It was a random day, wasn't anything that I just planned to do, but it was just something, I just wanted to do as I'm just casually walking to my mailbox. And for once, I'm hearing the birds sing. I'm hearing the birds chirp. I'm seeing families outside playing football, which was not a thing in my community. We're used to hearing gunshots on the daily. And for once, ever since he sent the task force, there's been nothing but peace and quiet within these neighborhoods. And I felt that it was my duty and job to report that, considering the fact that I live in these neighborhoods where the Memphis Safe Task Force was impacting. Because working in this field of journalism is something that I really realize is that the media can create a lot of sensationalism and create a lot of fear in people because we as people rely on the news as our source. But I realized within that moment that we wasn't really fully being honest, because again, I'm a mother that lives in these communities and I'm actually seeing a difference. So after I made that video and the numbers started to climb overnight, I'm now getting phone calls from my editor basically stating that, there's a choice here. Either you take the videos down or that's it. That there was really no thing about it. And I decided to stick with my integrity. And maybe I'll probably say about 2 to 3 days later after making that video, I was no longer employed by the Tri-State Defender.
If people don't know, the media's bias, left-wing bias mostly everywhere. It seeps through local papers to local TV stations to national reporting. And something that we should all agree upon, safety for your family, for your children. They can't even grab the media. It's terrible, but it's almost like part of Trump derangement syndrome. But there's another, this Shelby County DA, Steve Morrow, he decides whether Memphis Task Force actually arrests people and that they hold up in court, is suing the state to block a law that would require him to report which of those cases he's quietly dropping. You're backing a change.org petition calling on Mulroy to drop the lawsuit. It's almost 3,600 signatures. You could sign the petition today at change.org/Memphis/crime. Tell us about this DA. Tell us about the petition. And what's wrong with these DAs? First of all, go ahead, tell us.
Ever since Steve Mulroy has gotten into office, he has been one of the weakest DAs that Shelby County could have ever had. The hard work that the Memphis State Task Force has put into the city of Memphis, you're talking about within a span of 7 to 8 months, they've arrested over 10,000 criminals and saved over 500 abducted children. The problem that we're having here is that either he is dropping the charges or lessening the charges. And we're trying to hold him accountable as to why. Why are we constantly releasing these criminals back into our communities when we're seeing them commit these crimes? And now with him turning around and pretty much having a lawsuit over this, it's raising a lot of eyebrows because it's like, what are you hiding? Because when you're talking about accountability and just overall just reporting, it shouldn't be up for a debate. Us as citizens should be able to see what is going on within that DA's office. And the fact that you're trying to cover this up, it truly says a lot. It says a lot. And why is that? What are you doing within this office that you have to take these drastic measures for us to not see what's going on within this office? One of our state senators that's currently running for Congress, Brent Taylor, had recently what's called the DA Accountability Act. He did this, I want to say around March or April of this year, to hold our DA accountable. Because again, what is the point of catching all of these criminals when no one is going to be held accountable for them? And that is my purpose of having this partnership here with change.org to bring not only awareness to our DA, but to stop him from this lawsuit, because again, we deserve to know as public citizens here within Shelby County here in Memphis.
Even though the federal government came in with the task force, the charges are local, right? So at the end of the day, it's the local district attorney that can say, lessen this charge, let them go. It's not federal charges. So it shows how important it is that people across the country, whether Memphis, New York, elect the right DAs locally. Because if you can get what they started to do, and they say it's George Soros, they say it's him and his ilk that helped elect local prosecutors that were soft on crime because they can flood the community and let criminals out nonstop. What do you have? Chaos, anarchy. Give me your final thoughts. The petition. Give me your final thoughts. Oh yeah, let's see. Did you get a new freelance job, Delicia? Let me ask you.
So I'm working independently right now. My goal, even as a Democrat, I've always have been a voice for the people. I can admit that prior to this, I'd had TDS, I'd had Trump derangement syndrome, but I realized through all of this that the Democrats lie and they have an agenda all the way down to how our DA prosecutes. And that is my job here, especially as someone that comes from the media, to share the truth on not only how the media operates, but as a mother, because at the end of the day, my public safety should not be up for debate. My kids' safety, everyone's safety should not be up for debate. And we should have a DA in office that supports that. And currently with him hiding this information from us, that's something. And it totally.
And you ended your TDS symptom without therapy. Congratulations. Hope to see you soon, Delicia. Thanks for joining Media Exposed. We'll see you soon. Thank you. A word from our partner sponsor at Hotel Plenty. You're frustrated with how confusing it is these days to find and book a great hotel for yourself, your family, for a large group. Our friends at HotelPlanet.com have a cutting-edge hotel booking platform. Easy to navigate, is AI-powered, has 1.4 million global properties available across all travel categories. And they've been in the business for more than 20 years. You call their reservations lines, you could speak to a real-life human, not a chat. But Hotel Planet is high-tech, high-tech. Go to HotelPlanet and discover the world. I want to thank Delicia Bollinger for joining us from Memphis, Dr. Paul for joining us, I think Ezra Friedlander for joining us, 250, and our own David Zier, and thank Fran and Aaron for doing a great job in the control room. We'll see you next week on Media Exposed.
I've been doing this a long time, but ever since I started taking Blue Chew,
The world is full of fables, from Big Pharma's lies to gender confusion, atheism, and the fake news media. Enough is enough. From Real America's Music comes the powerful new single, Fables by DVS 7.0 and Brett Rayo. This bold anthem exposes the lies of the enemy while pointing people to the life-changing truth of Jesus Christ. Pre-save Fables right now by scanning the QR code on your screen or search Fables on iTunes. Let's make this song number one.
Hi, my name is Tracy Elk of Arizona. I don't stink around in the kitchen when it comes to the news. I watch Real America's Voice, which always serves accurate and reliable updates that are on point with their amazing hosts. So don't find yourself in a pickle by tuning into the fake news. Stick with Real America's Voice.
I'm Lou, Mega Pilot from Rav's Gator Chat here in beautiful Trump County, Florida. The best place for real news is Real America's Voice.
Hi, this is Kelly Renee from Northern California Hills, MAGA country. The reason I watch Real America's Voice is for the faith, the family, and the freedom. Giddy up!
My name is TJ Ash from Carbonville, Utah. Real America's Voice lets me express my conservative views without censorship or edit.